On this episode of Two Dudes, One Cart, John and I sit down and talk about our recent trip to Macklemore Golf Resort, what happened at the Masters, and the RBC Heritage. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this action packed episode of Two Dudes, One Cart. Well, everybody, we are back. We are back in the lovely state of Indiana where you never know what the weather will bring. Maybe tornadoes, maybe high winds, maybe snow, maybe 80. I don't know. Welcome to April near May in the greater Indiana area. John, how you doing, man?
Oh, dude, just wonderful. Another beautiful day in Indiana for the first half.
Yeah.
We'll kick in some more rain tonight and then probably rain all weekend as soon as we get off work.
Yep, just fertilized the lawn. Had to get that knocked out before this rain came on. Little fertilizer, little overseed.
Oh yeah.
Well, John, I know that everybody is dying to know. Give everybody a little bit of a recap of what went down on the boys' trip. Obviously, I went a day early. Uh, we went down and played Hermitage. Um, right off the bat, I got to say, I don't know how um, these golf courses overcame the amount of rain that we have had before this trip. So the courses, given the situation, were in really good shape. I mean, Hermitage was pretty good. Greens were nice, but you could tell they had taken on a lot of water. Um, that was my first round out. Didn't even keep track on the front. Just kind of tried to find where the ball was actually going.
Yeah.
Was about I think I played four over on the back. And then we made our way down into Nashville and headed out to Greystone, and it kind of kicked off with a bang. Greystone was looking good. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a storm rolled in. It
Ah,
seemed like at 100 miles an hour. Temperature dropped. Didn't get to finish, but the course, I still thought with what they've had out there, the course was
what?
still in real. You didn't oversell it. It was a nice course. It had some great holes, great views, great people. What'd you think?
Yeah, I mean for 60 or $70, it's a good course. I mean, it you can tell rain hit there as well.
Oh
I
my
mean, all
God,
the
yeah.
way down from Indy, once you got down to past Columbus, there's just water standing on both sides of the road. Some of the fields look like lakes. But yeah, I mean, Greystone, that's one of my favorites down there in Nashville. Get some get some hills like that one par five all the way up the right side is like you're going up the mountain where they're, you know, mining or whatever. And you see some mine shafts behind you with some excavating equipment. So that's cool. Um, I liked the greens there. I was putting well there. Um, the views are good. The fairways, some were good, some were shit. I mean, but we rolled it, so
Yeah,
I mean,
I,
I didn't have
I,
to
I'm,
roll anything over 3 or 4 feet to find a dry spot of grass.
yeah, and I think that was a given. Overall, I think it was great. I think it's one of those places if you're heading down that way and you got time, Hermitage and Greystone are definitely two places that
Yep.
that you would
Yeah, I like
definitely want to
both.
stop and play.
I would say the one good thing about Hermitage, if you do go down there, is you get a chance at 36 holes because you got two tracks.
Yeah, the presidents and the generals. Yeah, we played the president course, and it was. I don't have anything bad to say about it. I mean, it's the conditions were about what I expected, given what's happened
Yeah.
across the United States or Midwest, I guess. But
Yeah. I would say it'd probably be a good middle of May to early July because those courses kind of green up a little bit more with the zoysia grass and then the bent grass fairway or the bent grass greens.
yeah,
So
shout out to Charles if he's listening. That paired up with me and Ben Seatsma to play out there at Hermitage. It was a good time. He was a nice guy. Kind of just gave us the what's up in the area. kind of helped us out around the course a little bit, talked to us a little bit about Greystone. So it was cool to play with a
Yeah.
local, if you will.
Yeah, get some of that insider information.
Yeah, but I will say if you're in Nashville and you're looking for a hotel to stay at, that Residence Inn that we stayed at that Ben scored us some deals at was really nice. Just opened up.
Yeah, brand new.
Really clean. I mean, it's you, you know, it's a 5 star. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, because everything was brand new.
Yeah, I mean it still has the sticker on some of our appliances. So
Yeah, I saw some painter's tape in the bathroom. So I
yeah.
mean, it's that new. Well, then we moved on to the main event, if you will. We drove
Yeah.
down and we got to Macklemore, hit the range. I quickly changed from shorts to pants as we got up into the mountainous terrain, and it got pretty chilly. We took the trolley ride over to the keep. And it's
Yeah.
hard to explain to you the views and how outrageous the keep actually is for just a gigantic open links course that I could see if they get the infrastructure, they could really, even if it's just college or Corn Ferry or whatever, but that
Yeah.
course is tough, especially because we played it in about 30, 40 mile an hour gusts, some
Yeah.
rain, some cold air. The greens were so fresh and hard, it was like landing on a pool table with short felt
Yeah.
because it was hard to stick them on there, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I mean, luckily we had caddies, right? But
Oh yeah,
even landing it on, like, if you landed on the green, there's chances you weren't staying on the green,
yeah,
even with a wedge in your hand, because it just was. I mean, there's so much undulation on those greens, and it might look downhill, but you're actually uphill because you're facing away from the canyon. And then it's the opposite of that, where it's actually it looks like it's uphill, but it's downhill because your back's towards the mountain and you're facing the canyon. So that was crazy. Um, but yeah, talk about testing shots on drives and on the approach shots, knowing where to land them, clearing that one par three on the back. I think it had like that 200 to 500 foot drop off canyon. It was like 140. I think I had a 6 iron to the back of the green just to make sure because we had 20 mile an hour headwind. But yeah, the views are good. I just think, you give that course a couple more years to mature, and I think that thing's going to be pristine.
oh, I would love to play that in about 2 years in, I don't know, July.
Yeah. I, I
Some
think I think that'd be an awesome August, September.
Yeah.
Maybe September might
Se-
be the best month.
yeah, yeah,
Leaves
that's a good
just
call.
started to change. Temps cool down a hair, but you're still probably going to be in the low 80s during the middle of the day, high 60s at night and early morning.
Yeah,
I think
I
that'll
mean,
work out.
it's so new, so everybody knows that they basically have a trailer out there that's kind of a clubhouse.
Yep.
They were building some cottages over there. They're going to put in a par three course, another putting course over there, a restaurant up on a cliff overlooking the valley. So they've got a long way to go. I would say if there's it's hard to really. I mean, we had some varying opinions, but for not only what they had weather wise, but
Yeah.
for what they had to get the course open, I think they did a pretty good job. You know, they didn't have a ton of merch, but they don't have a ton of space because they're not
That's
there
the
yet,
trick.
but they're getting play on that course. And I mean, I enjoyed it. I don't. What'd you end
Yeah.
up shooting there, John, with the weather? I mean,
Yeah. I mean, I played pretty well. I think I shot a 40 on the front. And then, I mean, we only made it to 15 before the, storm buzzer because there was some lightning. So we went to the temporary pro shop and hung out. And then, you know, that was a 5 hour round walking. So it's not a 4 hour typical round. Any of the courses that we played there in Macklemore, I would probably suggest it's a 5 to 5.5 on the keep where we played the first round, which we're talking about right now.
yeah,
And then,
the caddy told me it averages about 6. I ended up by the time I was at the end of the day sitting in the bar having my steak and some drinks. I was at about 37,000-ish steps.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean you're just trekking. I mean,
Right.
there's no quick routes to the next tee box as you're kind of gandering through some heather and wood chip trails. But I mean, it was scoreable, but I got pretty fortunate on where my ball landed on the greens where I didn't have to chip back on. The one par three eight that was going back to the canyon where they some sucker pins. They really did
Oh
us
my
dirty on
God.
the pins.
Uh,
But I mean, they put it right in front of that ridge, and if you landed it short, you weren't getting up, and if you landed it pin high, you were going to go long because it was actually uphill downhill. I hit mine on the left with a little cut, and it kind of rolled up the hill and got onto the flat spot and stuck. Um, but yeah, it was tough. Um, but I mean, heck, the course opened up in end of September, early October.
yeah, I think I went out. I mean, it was tough conditions, but I mean, hell, this is my third round of the year, but I had 40, I think I had a 41 or 42 on the front, and I'm not gonna lie, I got tired and I kind of just crapped the bed on the back.
Oh
I
yeah,
think I probably ended up with a 90. It just got
yeah,
so cold, so windy, and then that rain, that stoppage
yep,
was good bad because after that, when me and Ty and Tony went back out, it was warmer because I think we stopped on 15, I think was the par three,
that was 14. Yeah,
14. So we were at 14. We walked down and played that par three. So we went back at 14 and 15 it was a little bit warmer in the wind stop, and then it
yeah,
all just came right back. And you were kind of thankful just to make it through and get to
yeah.
that van to get back because just the
Yeah,
warm.
because 15 was the par five uphill, and it had that big sinkhole rock formation right in the middle of the fairway, about 350 out.
It was kind of a cool look though, wasn't it,
Oh, it
with
was
that thing?
awesome. I hit my best drive of the day on 15, then the air horn blew, and I was like, son of a gun. Because I stuck the par three, put my closest to the pin marker down because I had about 14 feet. The hole before that was all downhill. That felt great. Um, just yeah, like 10 and 11 kind of that 11, that par five hurt me. I hit it down four fairway or whatever it is, the fairway that's on the other side of it. So I played a whole nother hole coming down. Terrible angle. But yeah, great course, great layout. Will be definitely good once it matures. And heck, even by the end of this summer, I think it might be good. It needed more sun and more warmth instead of 6-degree weather with rain and wind.
Yeah, if you guys can imagine the amount of water that's coming down a mountain, especially when you're getting downpours like we were. I mean, you could see that where the water was just washing through the grass that they had mowed. I mean,
Yeah,
it was pretty crazy. But moving on a little bit, we got to play the Highlands course and a kind of a tale of two totally opposite courses. You want to talk about up and down the mount? I mean, some
yeah,
gorgeous views
yeah,
when you play the Highlands course. It's definitely a totally different feel, definitely a different vibe altogether. But what do you think, John? What do you think of the? And I think before you go, I think that said that are on the cart. It's 4.75 hours, I think, is what they say is
yeah,
typical, and we ended up just shy of uh, 5 hours, and we were the first group out, and the group in front of us was just a little
yeah,
slow. I mean, I hit up on the green on them on 18, but
yeah.
didn't mean to. Just caught one pure out of that fairway on 18 and just snuck it right up there on the front edge of the
Yeah.
green.
Sorry, I mishit it. I hit it in the center of the face.
Yeah, my bad.
Yeah, I mean, I like the mountainous terrain. I like going in between. We had a lot more tree cover where you couldn't just blast it way right, way left because it was gone or down a cliff or in the woods. Um, I liked the greens a lot. The greens were a little bit more forgiving. Um, the layout was good. There was no two holes alike. And talk about up the hill, down the hill, up the hill,
Oh
down the
man.
hill, sideline, downhill. It was nuts. But I definitely like the Highlands course more. Um, from just my perspective of visually, I just like how that course is set up. I'm not a link style guy, even though I like the keep. I just think the Highlands was more what I wanted to see out of a golf course.
in the
But I
mountains.
forgot to say too, at the keep at the halfway house, which was another portable trailer. I mean, food, snacks, soft drinks, all
Correct.
that was complimentary. I mean, that was great. And whereas the Highlands, you just went in the halfway house and it was, I think you hit it twice or three times, plus a
Well, yeah,
cart
you
girl.
pass it twice.
Yeah. Plus you saw the cart girl around a couple times. Um, so that was nice too.
Yeah, in my opinion, not taking a knock, I think that's kind of a miss. Um, is not having that complimentary at the halfway house on that course as well. And I think that's one of those things. That's one of those little um just cool things. It's like when we
Yep.
played Rams Hill in Palm Springs when they gave you those free
Tacos.
tacos when you pass to the house.
We're still talking about that 3 years later.
I know because it was so awesome. But the yeah, I thought it was great. I thought the course was great. I thought the people were pretty good. It was kind of it was a little bit different for us to get used to the way how the resort ran and how where everything was.
Yep.
Um,
It's definitely spread out, which is good and bad, right? You're not tucked. I mean, the only groups we saw is that one day when it was kind of slow that on that Saturday, the first day we played 36, just because the group in front of you guys were slow. But was also kind of nice because then we could shoot the breeze with the group in front of us and behind us and see what they saw ahead of us, and we could relay the information back. So good and bad.
well, all in all, what do you if you're gonna go out of a what do you rate it out of from 5 stars being the best? What do you think?
I'd say it's probably a 4-star resort. If you're going to go, I wouldn't go any earlier than June if I was going to go in the first half of the year. But I wouldn't want to be there during July or August because I think it would be hotter than Hades. But I think September on, I think that place would be 4.5 stars easy.
Oh,
Because
I would definitely love to go there in the fall.
yep,
I think
I think
that'd
that's
be
the prime time to go.
yeah. Well, John, what do you think about well, I know what you think about Rory, but what do you think about him getting that monkey off his back with the win at the Masters?
Well, I wasn't happy for him. I was happy for myself. Now I don't have to hear about him getting the grand slam anymore. Is this his year? Is this his year? Just glad it's over. Um, I really wish one of the live guys would have won it, especially DeChambeau. I thought it would have been really funny if Patrick Reed came back and got it. I mean, he was up there close. But good for Rory, I guess. If you're a Rory fan, I mean, a lot of people are. It's not my guy, but at least we don't have to hear about it in the news.
It was Bryson just seemed like he gave up on his style of game there on that last 18 on Sunday, and it seemed pretty apparent. And I mean, obviously, we were driving back, we were listening to it and watching it here and there, but man, I Justin Rose. I mean, just to be the guy with the first playoff there, he loses to Sergio. Sergio gets the monkey off his back. Then he loses to Rory, and Rory gets the monkey off his back in playoff. The guy just played outstanding. I don't know
Yep.
who would have picked him on day one. I mean, he's just throwing darts.
Yep.
He's playing so well. And then if he wins that thing, the miraculous comeback that he made to get there
Yeah.
was outrageous.
Yeah, I was pulling for him on, the final day on Sunday. I would have thought that would have been really a really cool golf story for him to come back. Turned pro at 17, got what, second or third in the Open, and went pro like the very next day. And then everybody
Struggled.
thought he was going to be the new White Tiger, and then he kind of fell apart, and then he came back when he did really well for a number of years, and then kind of fell off when he went to Honma or however you pronounce that company. And then It would have been a great comeback story.
Well, and I tell you what is a lot of us were talking about the Masters and talking about, when they were showing those shots where they're like people are lined up like a hallway and you're hitting a drive. And I was like, man, it's not only the pressure of that, but it's knowing that every golf tournament you play in, every swing,
Yeah,
every time you contact the ball, there's a monetary value attached to that.
yeah,
And nobody proved that more than my man, Ludwig Oberg, on 18, having his difficulty in whatever. He double bogeyed that and cost himself 500. That's like 500
yeah,
and some $1,000. That cost him that little bobble at the
yeah.
end. And I mean, I'm sure he just shrugged it off because it's not like he had the money in your pocket to begin with, but it's like, man.
Yeah, I don't think those guys can really think about it. If they're in the top five, I don't know if they can really think about it. If you have a chance at potentially winning a tournament on a Sunday, you're probably not thinking about the money as much. Like, hey, I'm going to aim for third. Think all those guys that are in the top five are probably looking, what can I do to win this thing? Um, People in the top 20 are like, man, how do I just get up to third or fourth place and get an extra couple hundred K in the bank? But
Well, he kind of shit the bed out of those bunkers going bunker to, I mean, he had a rough time there, but
yeah,
he got the ball in the hole. I tell you who was thinking about that 500K loss was his caddy.
yeah,
His caddy was like dialing down that percentage in a hurry.
yeah.
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
That
whoa.
would have been an extra 50 grand in old boy's pocket.
I was waiting for the guy to go, get the F on the green, man.
Yeah,
What are you doing?
yeah. I mean, that's a significant amount for a caddy versus that 50 grand for the caddy probably means more than the 500K Oberg probably would have got. So
Well, and I mean, it was a great Masters, I think. Um, I think it was, you could tell moving up even to the final day, all the names that were coming up. DeChambeau on Saturday night, nailing that 20-foot putt on 18
yeah,
to get within two. Um, seeing Justin Rose make a charge, Patrick Reed was making a charge. I mean, there was a lot of movement on the leaderboard, which everybody likes. I think it was one of the more memorable Masters that we've probably
yeah,
had. Yeah, the Rory story adds to that, but man, everybody was coming in such good form. Let's just say
yeah,
that.
yeah. There was a lot of good golf.
Now, John, what do you think about what happened to Wesley Bryan of the Bryan Bros getting suspended? But he got suspended after he's already at the Punta Cana at the course.
Yeah,
PGA suspends him for playing in the duels with Liv. Even though I understand the rules, and I know some people took some comments to me about that on social media. I get the rules, but the fact that it's a pro-am type event, um, and I understand the PGA Tour is doing something like that, and they have the Creator Council, and then to
yeah,
turn around for them to invite Grant Horvat to play in the Barracuda, even though Grant's on their Creator Council, which is part of the PGA Tour, which I hate. I mean, I don't hate criticizing the PGA Tour because they keep doing the same stuff, but I just feel like why do they keep stepping on their own dicks, for lack of a better term, with the small stuff? Hey, let's merge. Nope, nope, nope. Can't do that. Don't do this. Don't do that. What's the deal with that, John? I mean, don't you think there's a better way to handle that?
I, it's they're gonna do what they're gonna do. Was it weird? Yeah. Like who is Wesley Bryan on the PGA?
Hey.
He doesn't create any ripples when he's playing a tour event, in my opinion.
Well, and even when he is playing good, he was on a tear there. It looked like he might shoot a 59, and they barely even gave him any coverage. But
Yeah. I mean,
it is what it is. But when you're what I look at is the PGA Tour has this Creators Council, and they want to figure out ways to get into that space. And here's almost everybody on there has almost a million followers, almost
Yeah.
everybody. Why, why, why do that to him? Like you said, it's not like we're talking about Xander Schauffele
Yeah.
or, what's we're talking about Wesley Bryan, we'll call him a B actor right now in the sport. Not that he's not good enough and doesn't have a talent, because obviously he does, or he wouldn't be on tour and wouldn't have a card.
Yeah.
But I mean, it just seemed like a misstep to me. I don't mean to beat a dead horse, but it's like, come on.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, I think it's a waste of effort by the PGA.
And I think, man, that poor bastard just flew over there. But
Yeah.
hopefully they shoot some content while they're over there. I don't
Oh,
know,
you know,
man.
he's shooting content. I mean, what about DeChambeau walking down the neighborhood at Augusta and finding some dude with a lighted back green in his backyard and started putting with the locals?
Well, that wasn't just anybody. That guy he was putting with, I forget. I think he was a Major League Baseball player.
Yeah, still.
But still, yeah, but that's Bryson.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty awesome.
I
But
mean,
yeah,
that's a totally Bryson thing to do for sure.
yeah,
Did you watch?
that's what surprised me that Bryson kind of shit the bed on Sunday because like he never stops practicing. He's out there till 8 o'clock beating balls. Like if he's doing that and can't pull through, like I have no chance.
Well, it's not that. I think the puzzling thing was were the errors, which seemed to be mental errors that he made on Sunday, trying to get, thinking he's pretty jacked up, you know,
Yeah,
trying to take 8 iron from 200 yards out. Around here we call that a 7 iron, but it's like, why risk that coming up short on some chips? I mean, I understand he knows every freaking eighth inch of those greens probably by heart, but he just, it's just mental errors, and Augusta can do that to everybody. Your ball's on a certain lie, and it's above your feet. You're, in a hook lie, and a lot of stuff can happen, but still, it's not something you think you're going to see from Bryson. You think you're going to
yeah.
see more of the maybe wayward drives. You're not going to see too many miscues with irons and wedges, I think was the most puzzling part.
Is uh is Dustin Johnson ever gonna do well in a major again?
It all depends if he wants it. He has to want it. I mean, people always go, "Oh, he's such a has-been," and I go, let's look back at the Ryder Cup. Dude
Yeah,
knows how to play the game, knows how to control the golf ball. I really, I'm kind of thinking that he's just out there playing golf, man.
yeah.
I mean,
It's
does he have the talent to do it? Of course he does.
yep.
Does he want to do what it takes to do that? Now that's a totally different story.
Yeah. I'm kind of there too, because I mean I see him play on you know, the Grant and against Grant and Phil, just hitting some awesome shots. Seeing him bomb drive, seeing him stick it close. He just can't keep it together, it seems like.
Well, U.S. Open's coming, and if there's a place that Dustin Johnson has always flourished, it's been in the U.S. Open. But
Yeah,
I would totally love it if DJ came back and won a U.S. Open and be like, still playing golf, boys. Just sauntering down the fairway, no
yeah,
big deal. See
yeah,
you on the boat.
yeah. You won't hear anything, when he does it because he'll just be out there, like you said, nonchalant. You know,
Yep. I hit some good putts.
could have
It's
hit the
like
ball a little
Brooks.
bit.
I don't even know what's going on with Kepka.
Yeah, I don't think anybody does.
Well, and then another big story just happened yesterday. Mr. Justin Thomas pulling off the win at the RBC Heritage, when I thought that Novak, man, I thought for sure. I bet he's laying in bed still today going, how did I pull that putt on 18?
Yeah,
How do I land one? How did I have an 8 footer and just just barely pulled it? If I was his caddy, I'd be like, please aim right edge in case you pull it.
yeah,
I mean, it just. But for Justin to win the way he did, hitting whatever that was, 21 feet was the
yeah,
call, burying in there. It was cool to see him break the rut he's been in. But to then read that he's going back to his old caddy after he's recovered and healed back up, I thought that was odd because I thought this was a pretty good match for uh, Aaron. I forget the guy's name now. He left Homa and was on the bag for Thomas, but he's been playing so good with that guy on the bag. It's kind of make me kind of think, man. I mean, nothing. I mean, I understand you have a relationship with your other caddy, and maybe that relationship is that much better. But man,
Yeah,
when you're on a heater, kind of hard to switch it up.
hard to get off the table.
I know. But dude played some. I mean, gets the one penalty stroke in the bunker, uh, puts one in the drink,
Yeah,
gets lucky and has that one stop on the railroad tie, hits that chip out of there, gets that in for par, which was a saving grace. But those two strokes alone, basically he would have sealed that match had he not lost those two strokes. It would already
yeah,
been over before Novak even got there.
yeah. He had
And
it. I mean, that's golf, right? He had the chance earlier, and then had to claw his way back to win it.
that Maverick McNeely, dude, stud. That guy was just hitting every green, making putts. Seeing Daniel Berger back up there, Brat Keegan making a run.
Harmon,
Oh
I'm
my
not a
God.
Harmon fan, but
Ugh.
Harmon's been playing some good golf too.
I don't know how much of you watched since I've been on that course, seeing those guys take some of the risks they do with the trees that are right there instead of playing it more outright and they're catching the tree and dumping it in the water. Scheffler tried the 3-iron up over the tree on, of course, I'm going to forget what hole that is. He hit the tree, ends up in the
Yeah,
water. Harmon comes right up behind him and tries to hook one around there, hits the tree. But I love that course, and you got to point, shoot, and work your way around there. And the greens are pretty tough. They're pretty quick.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, it was good to see those names up there. It's really good to see Daniel Berger come back and be playing as well as he is, and Keegan. Keegan might
yeah.
just play his way right onto the Ryder Cup team,
I mean,
and be the captain.
after full swing, how can you not like Keegan?
Yeah, and I was going to segue onto that, thank you. But the fact that here Keegan, they make him the captain, and he's a stick. I mean, he is
Yeah,
on one this year. And to play your way on there and you're the captain, that's a little stinky.
yep,
You know what I mean? It's like,
yep.
God dang. Yeah, I mean, I don't I'm not sure what the thought process was going into that. I just don't I guess I just don't see Keegan um as a captain yet. I think it might have been more of a Webb Simpson type year, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um Keegan was playing good at the last year at the Ryder and the year before when he was up for, I mean, I don't
Well,
know.
put Kuchar in there, you know?
As captain?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
Kisner.
He's going to
Put
get his
Kisner in
chance.
there. Put one
Uh,
of the older guys that are hanging around, 80th to 120th rankings.
can you imagine Kisner?
I would love it.
Oh my God, that'd be great.
He'd be jacked up the entire time.
His captains would be Boo Weekley and
Yeah.
John Daly.
Yeah.
All right, boys, let's get after it.
Yep.
What did you see Joel Damon just crap the bed at the Punta Cana to lose that?
Yeah. I mean, he played good the week before that, too.
Man, I thought he had that sealed up, and then the bogey, the 72nd, just basically kind of gave it away. And man, I really hated to see that. As
Yeah.
good as he has been playing, and I mean, he was lighting it up out there,
Yeah.
and then to turn around and have that happen was
It's
it
Joel
was
Damon, head
it,
case.
it was the Joel Damon thing to do.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild. But yeah, I think we've really had some great golf. And I think they did the right thing by making the RBC a signature event. So whatever that is, almost a $4 million purse for the winner. It's 20 million overall. So last place gets 40K ish.
something like that. Yeah, I don't
So
even.
not bad for a 4 day, you might get 20 out of that once you've paid for your housing and, everybody to be there or whatever, but still,
Yeah,
I think they did the right thing to make sure they get some attendance. And then we're on to the Zurich this week.
that's another decent tournament. I
Yeah,
like Zurich.
you got Rory and Lowry going to try to go back to back. I know you're excited for that.
Yeah, don't care about either of those players. Although I wouldn't mind Shane Lowry. I like Shane. He's a good dude, normal
Well, and the
guy.
other thing I forgot to give a shout out about on hole 12, left side of the fairway. Not the place to be, by the way, at the Highlands course at Macklemore. I found a Titleist 7 Pro V1. I rolled it over and it says Venmo at Web_Emerson. So I sent Mr. Emerson $1. So we're waiting for his response. And we're waiting for his response on social media because I did locate him on social media. So we'll see if he didn't look like he was on there very often. But I thought that was funny. When I saw that ball, I'm like, I'm sending
Yeah,
this bastard $1 for having his Venmo on the side of
yeah.
the ball.
Wonder how many dollars he's collected over his career of doing that.
I don't know, but I thought I might do that to my golf balls and see if I get any.
Yeah, anything would be better than nothing.
Yeah, I'm trying to recoup some money. Venmo me some cash for this ball.
Speaking of that, how many Strixons did you go through at the old Macklemore?
Uh, Believe it or not, I didn't take Strixons. I took the ERC, the Callaways. I liked I'm between that and the Strixon golf ball. I like them both, but the it wasn't too bad. I went with 4 dozen, and I know I got 2 full dozen out there, maybe.
A little over, maybe a dozen a sleeve or so.
I might have close to 2.5, probably. I think
Oh
I
yeah,
still
you
have
only
two.
went to
So I did.
dozen and a couple sleeves.
Yeah, I didn't. It wasn't that bad. I mean, I thought it
I
was
think
going
I
to be a
lost
lot
maybe
worse.
4 to 6 golf balls only. You know,
Yeah,
still shot in the high 80s.
I
The high,
put two. I think I had I think I had 3 water balls was my major death. Um, but other than that,
yeah,
it wasn't none of the courses we played were super difficult to navigate. The Highlands course,
number 6, the par
yeah,
five
yeah, it
downhill.
was a little bit. Once you figured it out, I think it was, you had to really look around to see where you're
Yeah,
going. But I thought it was going to
surprisingly,
be a ball eater, but it
yeah,
really wasn't too bad.
surprisingly playing the Highlands from the back tees on the final day made it a whole lot easier driving because you couldn't hit into trouble.
Right.
You know, yeah, you had a longer iron in on some of those holes, but it actually was nice. Like on the first hole, that dog leg par five, it's like, all right, I'll just aim at that sand trap at the end of the fairway. I know I can't get there. It's 290. The par five downhill, six, bang a drive down the left side, 6 iron to the green, and it's like, okay, this is easy.
Yeah, I think um it started to work well for me. I started to get things really moving when me and Tex on Saturday um were playing at the Highlands course was the fact that the irons were feeling better.
Yeah,
I mean, I was basically hitting the same iron as Tex 90% of the time. I hit some surprising ones. Like on the first hole, it was 124 or 25 to the pin, and I flew it with my gap wedge.
yeah,
And I looked at Tex, and Tex said, "What'd you hit there?" And I said, "A gap wedge. I guess I should have hit a sand wedge." And I flew that green. Um, and then I thought, man, the irons
yeah,
just started feeling well. I started, I basically anytime I was at 200 yards, I was hitting six. I made a joke with Tex on I forget what hole it was. We were like 230 out, and he goes, and I said, "What do you?" I asked him, I forget what he said he was hitting. I said, "I'm just going to hit a 4 iron. There's no way I'm going to be long." And I was pin high left.
Yeah.
I was completely shocked that I was just. I hit Taylor up when I got back, and I go, "Dude, I almost feel back to a certain extent. I'm still pulling him a
Yeah.
little bit."
I'd
And then
say the balls definitely were flying at that elevation.
I see. Tex said he wasn't doing anything different.
Really? I felt like I was about a half club longer than I was at home.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't. I didn't. That's why I was asking everybody. Like, no, I feel like I'm hitting the same distance. And I thought, well, okay.
Yeah.
But
Who knows? Could be a combination of both.
then my whatever I did my back, man, that did me in.
Yeah. Well, a lot of golf in a short amount of time.
Still, I still got it, and still got the pinch in my back, and it's not exciting, but it is what it is. So, John, what is our next trip?
Big toss up. I mean, I'm thinking, who, I don't know. I'm thinking fall golf somewhere, I don't know if I can make it all the way till, February, March again of next year to do a trip. So, I mean, I still like the St. George, Utah. I still like Florida would be okay, even though I'm not a huge Florida golfer. I just don't like all the sand based soil. Um, if we are gonna wait, I'd almost say just let's just go back to Palm Springs and call it a day. I think that's a clear, easy answer to golf on a golf destination.
Well, and especially because we can push it a little bit into February
Yeah,
and get even a little bit warmer weather. I mean, even though it was pants for an hour and a half, maybe if you were lucky in the
yeah,
morning, you didn't even have to. If you were wearing a hoodie and shorts, you were fine.
yep,
But I think February would take a lot of that out of the way. You'd probably have some more daylight.
yep.
Um,
Yeah, you wouldn't have to rush as much as we did between two rounds.
I think the only problem we end up with there is that we have um, really got to limit the amount of people. Unfortunately, that's it's
Yep,
just so much to try to get 16 people seems impossible for Palm
yep.
Springs.
That's an 8-person trip. I think even after Macklemore, I'm just going to focus on 8 people. And if more people want to play, we can put the dates out there. We'll give them their tee times and say, you guys go figure it out if you guys want to play at similar times.
Right. Yeah, it's just it's tough. It can be done, but it's
Yeah.
tough. Most of it is housing.
Most
Um,
of it's housing and
because
logistics
yeah,
and cars. Right.
yeah, even logistics. If you go the minivan route, was great.
Yeah. You get 2 minivans, take the back seat out and fit 4 sets of clubs back there and suitcases, no problem. The only downside about Palm Springs is you're driving, from course to course. Um, so you have to limit make sure you got a DD or do it safe that way. And you're traveling. I mean, because there's so many golf courses, you can travel, 5 minutes or you can travel 45 minutes.
I think the thing would be to do is that you have to have if you want to do that many guys, which I granted it's not real easy, but if you had kind of like you set it up like it's two separate groups.
Yep.
And if you can get tee times together, you can get tee times together. If you
Yep.
can't, you can't. But even if you have Airbnbs that are close, everybody can hang out at the end of the day and talk about what their rounds were
Yep.
and yuck it up or whatever. Because I think that the cool thing about Palm Springs was we all went down there like, yeah, but that time difference got it. We were all tired
Yeah.
in bed at the right
Nine,
time
10 o'clock, we're
and
ready to
yeah, and up and
call
ready.
it a night.
We were all up and ready to go the next day because we are just so far off on the clock.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a good number is 8 people, you
Yeah,
know.
no, I totally agree. Unless it was like you were going to set up a group and I was going to set up a group and you did it that
Yeah.
way, but still, it's The tee
Yeah,
times.
or you do a resort style because some of those courses have, if you stayed at PGA West, right?
Ugh.
They got 3 or 4 courses, which I wouldn't do. But if you wanted to, on some of those courses have multiple golf courses, and you're staying on prem, right? That'd be a lot easier. You could just say, "Hey, I need 8 hotel rooms with 2 double beds in each one," and call it a day. That wouldn't be bad if you weren't leaving the premises. But if you're going to Palm Springs, I mean, there's so many good courses that you got to go play while you're out there. That you know,
Yeah,
probably the only course I would stay at for more than a day, would probably be Rams Hills. I could play that 2 days in a row.
I could. Um, I definitely, if we go back, I would want to do 36 at Rams, and I would like to do 36 at Classic Club. I really like that course.
Yeah,
But I don't know. We'll get that all figured out. I mean, we kind of already had this conversation, but I would, now that it's what we always talk about. When you're
yeah,
coming, it stinks when you're coming back from the golf trip, and then you're like, oh, when's the next one?
yeah. You got to start planning mode.
I mean, that's just the way it is. So we got some interesting stuff. We've got some interesting guests coming up soon. Some different type guests if you're of things about golf that you may not expect. So I hope everybody tunes in and listens and keeps following, liking, subscribing. All the stuff that we beat the dead horse about. But John, you got anything else? Anything you want to touch on?
No, looking forward to the next one, and we'll talk to you soon, buddy.
All right, everybody. Once again, thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk at you later.
Yes, sir.